Hey guys, welcome back. This is episode 2 of Obduction. A few things that I want to just like clear up before we get started. Right after that last playthrough that I did, I actually set up a new slot in the game, and then I played that all the way through so that I have just a better understanding of the game. So then that way when we're doing it together, it's going to be a little bit more fast-paced, because I was watching the one that I did last time and I was like, man, there's a lot of like me just sitting and stopping to have to think about things, and I know that's just not interesting. It's gonna just like unnecessarily drag out the episode, because the last one was like over an hour, and I was like, geez, I don't want to be doing that to anybody. That's a long time to be asking for somebody to pay attention to something. So this time I'm going to try and keep the episodes to be about like 30-40 minutes, and in order to achieve that, so that more is happening, because it's a slow-paced game, it forces you to stop and look around and things like that, but in order to keep it as fast-paced as possible, I'm going to be playing with a walkthrough, and I've also taken some notes from my last playthrough and everything. So hopefully this time around it'll be a little bit faster, it'll be more interesting from a viewer's perspective, and I'll also be explaining things as we're going so that it makes sense to you, because the first time I played through it I had to like look up a lot of stuff because a lot of it didn't really make sense to me. It's a pretty involved game. So all that being said, I do want to recap what we did in the last episode in case you didn't watch through the whole hour, which I didn't expect anybody to do. So in the last episode, we learned that Hunrath is part of Earth that exists on a different planet, and we're trying to get back to Earth. There are also other people that are in Hunrath. We're not alone. The Mofang are an alien species, so along with the Villine, which is another alien species, and they each have their own technology, and they've been interacting with the humans here so that they could use that technology. And then also the Villine developed lasers, and those lasers destroy Mofang devices, as we've learned from destroying, the rocks and projectors, and also the laser that was keeping us within this kind of cell, or this dome that we're stuck in. And then speaking of the dome, that is what was stopping us from going outside the cell, but since we disabled that laser, we're now able to go out of the cell, and I'll show you guys what exactly that means. So then we turned the power on for most of Hunrath, but not all of it. There's still some places that are still not have power. And then the tree in the center of Hunrath is of particular significance. We're going to learn about more of that later, but it is a significant thing. It's not just a tree, so we'll learn about that more as we go along. We also connected the battery for CW, who's the guy that was in that vault kind of thing. And then we also turned the water on for the tree, and we'll learn more about that again. And we also, just to recap where we are now, we just gained access to Caroline Farley's house, so it's also known as the community center. So that's where we are now, and that's where we're going to take off. So I just put in the code, and now we're gonna see what's in here. So I'm gonna change this to walk so we're just not speeding through everything. Okay, so this is the map. I'm gonna take a picture. Actually, hold on. Turn on the projector first. We can actually see it better. I found out if you take a picture with it just like that without the projector on, the photo, when you go back to look at it, is really dark. See how it kind of darkens the photos like that? It's really weird. I don't know why they did that, but that's just how it is. But anyway, this is a map of Hunrath. Oops, caught on something here. There we go. Okay. So this is a map of Hunrath. So right now, we are kind of we're right here in Farley's little place. Then there's the cemetery, the entry canyon. That's where we started. Town, the battery, CWs, and then there's like workshop there, the water source, the falls. And that's the big stone thing that we saw earlier. And then some other things that we don't know about quite yet, like the bleeder and things like that. So you'll probably notice there are these green smudges on the outside, and those actually have significance. Those actually mean something. I won't explain it yet because I don't want to spoil anything, but we'll find out very soon what that means. Now, I believe there are... yeah. Okay. So this here is, well, actually, let me do this first. Okay. Let's just switch that around. Not quite. Maybe a little bit more. Oops. Overshot it. Okay, well. Finicky. There we go. Okay. So this is important. This is part of a numbering system that is in this game. So the Villine have a number system. It's really complicated. I don't entirely understand it. But this is our first exposure to it. I'll explain a little bit more later because we're going to run into a machine that is supposed to kind of teach us how this system works. But for right now, we're just going to remember that this is like a sideways kind of 15, and remember that because that's going to be of significance. Okay, so here we have a lot of literature. If I go through and read all of this, it's going to take a really long time. It's going to take like 7 or 8 minutes just to like read through all this. So instead of forcing people to actually like listen to me voice over and probably like mess up words and stuff, what I'm going to do instead is just hold up the pieces of paper, and then in your own pace you can pause the video, read the information, because there is a lot of like very pertinent information here that's going to help you understand what's going on in the game. So I'm just going to do that right now. This is species descriptions, so this is really important if you want to know what the different species are and what exactly they're all about. That's a mofang. Kind of humanoid looking guys. The Uri are those beetles that have been flying around. And that's what they look like. Now there's also polyarchs. Those are like that's what a polyarch is. They're kind of the brains of the hive mind of the Uri. Sorry if you can hear my cat meowing. He like just meows constantly, so I apologize if you can hear that in the recording. I don't really know what I can do about that. I don't want to lock him in a room because then he's just going to be unhappy. The Villine are the guys that created those blue lasers and have been giving us that technology. And that's what they look like. Pretty scary looking. This is about communication with different species. And this is about the different seeds. So you probably recognize this. This was in the very beginning. There are different seeds that come from these big trees that like we'll learn more about. And then, yeah, well, you know, you can read about it here. Okay. Let's see if there's anything else in here. That's a tape player. You can play it, but it's really nothing that we don't already know. It's just kind of Caroline Farley going on about their experiences here and things like that. And this is her crazy wall. So this is like trying to figure out how the swappers work. And I know that doesn't really mean anything to anybody right now, but as we move along, you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, so let's open this up. And now we've connected that. Okay. So now I'm gonna show you guys what happens when you actually go out into this purple landscape here. It's pretty interesting. We're going to go up through here. Alright. So see how I approach it? You can kind of see there's a landscape that's starting to appear. And when I go through it, I appear somewhere else. So this is basically a portal system. And the idea is, let me pull up that picture so I can better explain this. So we went through, where was that? We went through the portal here. These green smudges tell you where these portals are going to go out to. So you go out 180 degrees from where you go in. So if I go into this portal, I'm coming out here. If I go into this portal, I'm coming out here. Or is it here? It's somewhere. It's one of these. And, you know, over here, then it's, again, somewhere over there. And this is basically how you get around a cell. It's one of the ways. So that's very important. We're going to be using that a lot. See, if you look closely, there was a beam of light there that shows us where we had just came out. Also, I don't know if you noticed, but there was an Orion beetle that just flew by. they just kind of hang out here, I guess. So now we're in the junkyard. This is... We can't go up here yet. That's inaccessible. But there's something special up there. We can't quite see it yet. This is the track, which is, this is a huge part. We're going to be using that to turn around. So first we're going to just undo that, because that's going to be important later. And then we're going to go up here. And this thing, we can actually ride down. So we get in here, click this, and we ride down this way. So you probably recognize where we are. We're on the inside of that area that we couldn't get into. So we're going to get down here. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to try and find this fuse box. Where is that? Here it is. So if you remember, part of town, I believe it was the garage in downtown, because that stuff has power, doesn't have power. So we're going to flip that on. And now those areas do have power. So all of Hunrath now has power. I'm going to just make a quick sweep here. This is only my second playthrough, so I want to make sure I do this correctly still. Okay. Now, this this interface here is how you learn the Villine number system. I'm gonna be doing a terrible job explaining this because I don't understand it, basically. I understand it at a very rudimentary level. So, if you remember from the last time, that 15, that like sideways 15, if we put that in here, so it's kind of weird how you like create it, but that's how you do that. And then hit this button, and we get a value of 406. So we're going to remember that, because that's going to be important. But then, let me see if I can reset this thing. I believe if you make all the connections, then it resets to 0. Because it like doesn't compute or something like that. Oops. Okay. Yeah, okay. So basically what you're trying to do is you can like type in numbers here, and I think if you hit enter, it'll show you what that is in the Villine numbering system. And basically through trial and error, what you learn is that as humans, we use a numbering system that uses base 10. So that means since we use base 10, that means that every digit reading from left to right represents a count of exponentially increasing factors of 10, starting on the right with 10 to the power of 0. So any number to the 0th power is, 1. So the next digit to the left of that is 10 to the 1st power, followed by 10 to the 2nd power, and so on. It's positional notation. That's what that's called. And you can look more into this if you want. You can look up the Villine number system. I don't want to spend too much time on this because it's extremely complicated and very math heavy. But basically, the Villine use a numbering system that's base 4, and then instead of using alphanumeric symbols, they use these this grid here, and then each quadrant is like a factor or a base of 4. So you start with in the center is base 0, and then base 1, 2, 3, 4. It goes into a spiral. And for anyone who actually probably does understand the Villine number system, I'm probably just butchering this completely. But that's what you do. So this is the number system, and that's, this is how you're supposed to learn it. But after an hour of trying to figure it out, I couldn't, and then I had to look it up, and then after looking it up, I still don't understand it. So you're just gonna have to believe me, I guess. Oh, I didn't see this the first time. Well, here you go. This explains it. Yeah, number system base 4. Drag from each blob to another to form the Villine digits. Right, so that's basically how it works. Man, I wish I'd seen that the first time. Okay, anyway. So now we're in the garage. We're gonna open this. And these license plates actually have some significance. So we're gonna take a picture of that and save that for later. We're also gonna go over here. Oh, there's an Ori beetle. We're also gonna go over here. And look at this. So, if you're not familiar with T9, this is where you're supposed to get those clues. So, 2 is ABC, 3 is DEF, and so on. We're going to use that later to solve a puzzle. And now, what am I supposed to do now? Okay. So now we're going to head back to the swing gate. Which is right here. And if you'll notice, there's a walkway on the top. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that. Oops. And we're going to connect that there. Okay, so now we want to get over there, right? So how do we do that? Well, we use the portal. I believe I'm going the right way. I might be going the wrong way. Let's see, if we need to go... need to actually look at the map here. Oh, where is it? Okay. So we're trying to go here, which means we need to go... is it the cemetery one? No. That's not... Actually, that might work. Let's try it. Yeah, a lot of this is just trial and error. It's really nothing amazing. Okay, so now did that work? Can we access that from here? Nope. So we're gonna go here. Where does that take us? Okay. I know where we need to go now. Now that I've eliminated all my possible options. I'm gonna go over here. We're gonna go under this archway here. Up these stairs. And we're gonna go in here. Now I believe we are in the right spot. Yes. Okay. So now we're gonna go across here. Drop that. We need to access that later. But we're gonna go across here. And here. This is the big tower that's right in the middle. Right now, we can't call the elevator. It's not working. So what we have to do is use this rotary system. So if you remember, based on T9... Oh, wait a second. I just realized we don't have a clue to do this yet. This isn't gonna work. So we're missing the code for that. I'm a little ahead of myself. I apologize. I almost got it. instead of going this way, I was supposed to go through that little shack there. Over here. I'm one step ahead. So we're gonna go through here. And then now we're on the opposite end of the wall. So I don't know if you remember, but when we typed in, I'm sure you remember, when we typed in that sideways 15 into that system and it spat out a number, I took a picture, it spat out 406. Okay, so we're going to use that into this keypad here. Okay. And this here is the mayor's quarters. So the mayor is the guy that's been in those videos that welcomed us. His name is Yosef, as you can see here, Yosef for mayor. Oh, we're gonna open this here. So now this takes us right to the tree. We can't access it yet, but there it is. And yeah, this elevator system isn't working yet, so we're gonna fix that next. If you see here, this is also pretty interesting. These are all the other mayors that have been here. Pretty interesting. Is this important? Mr. Mayor, at your behest, there is information pertaining to the bleeder, its history, and some of the engineering behind it. So the bleeder is that tower that's in that water there. I think, is this the second page? Yeah, that's the tower there. So again, you can pause the video. You can read this if you want to catch up on the lore of everything that's going on. Again, CW is the guy that's in that vault that's been helping us. We're gonna go over here, and then let's check this out. There's these are just some sessions from the council. A clue to that code has been placed under the direction of our first mayor. So that's the upper tower access code. The keyword there is direction. Oops, maybe I'll pause here so that if anybody wants to pause the video, they can read that. Basically, this is figuring out that there's like, let's see, the Mofang bastards sent to kill us will be returned back to them. So we're at war with the Mofang. This is where we begin to learn that the Mofang are evil. They're trying to wipe us out. Thought this was funny. May all your doors stay open. And then this is a compass here, but if we look underneath, what's it say? Colorado. So remember those license plates out there? The one we are interested in is the Colorado plate. So we're gonna go out here, and this will connect us to that big stone thing here. We're gonna go down here, and we're gonna go back. Oh, wait a second. No, we're gonna go over this way. We're going to go back to where we were at the top of that tower, and we're going to put in the code, because now we have the information to do that, and I'm going to explain how we have that information. So We're gonna go over here. Go down here. Go across here. Oh man, you guys have no idea. This is about to get so much more complicated. This is just the tip of the iceberg. It'll be classic Myst style. Also, I apologize if there's like some stuttering. It's something with this game. I don't know why it kind of does that. Maybe I'll turn the graphics down. That should help with performance a little bit. Okay, so if you remember, we took a picture of the license plates. Now we're interested in the Colorado one. So we have B and we have G, and then we have 4153. You're like, what do we do with that information? Well, using the T9 system, we turn B and we turn G into numbers. So I understand that probably sounds complicated, but it's actually pretty intuitive. So what was it? B and G. So we got A, B. So that's going to be 2. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So we got 24. And then what were the other ones? 41, 53. So 4, 1, 5, 3. There we go. So now this works. We can call the elevator. Let's go to the top. You get a pretty nice view of everything from up here. These indicate the, well, is that going to spoil things? It might, so I'm not going to say anything. But this is, we're right above the tree. That's the town down there. It's the workshop and CW's little shack there. That's the big battery up there. We came in through over there. Then if we go over here, kind of see the layout of everything. This will probably make it easier to understand where we are if we can just see everything all at once. This doesn't do anything. Not yet, anyway. We'll get back to that. It's, oh, that's the garage. So we're gonna head back down. So we've already been in here, so we're going to go down one more. And this is the mayor's living quarters. Oh, that's the control interface for the Villine number system. Got a bed, got a toilet, a very necessary component. Oh, let's play some music. Is that gonna work? There we go. Now this will be interesting. Turn this here. You recognize that door? That just gave us access to the tree, so let's go check that out. Maybe I'll just turn this off. back up. We're gonna go out here. We're gonna check out this tree. There it is. Big beautiful tree. But this isn't just a tree. We go around here. Huh. What's that? Let's go in here. Yeah, the game always pauses and has to load whenever you're walking through the trees. It's kind of weird. But we go in here and oof. What do we have here? So we are at the bottom of the tree. There's a whole hose system. And they're going off into different areas. Ah. Very strange. Well, what's in here? There's that sound. So there's something on the other side there, but we don't know what yet. Very strange indeed. The other one is like that as well. Very bizarre. So let's come down here. Let's flip this. So now the water that we flipped on earlier is being released into the tree. So we're going to get at the water that it needs. And then something very cool is going to happen. Look at that. So now the tree here in Hunrath has been activated. So now there's water running down here. Now we can actually see there's another tree over there, but we can't get to it. And all the other chambers are like that as well. So if we go over here, it's the same story. Look at that. So there are 4 trees, one for each world. So let me explain this real quick. I'm gonna go back up here. Oh, I don't know why that happens. That happens every time, but something weird. So I'm gonna go to the top here again. To this. Now, remember that these were all out. This one is now on. This one's being powered. So, the tree in Hunrath has been given the water. The ones in Murray and Mofang and Kaptar are off. That's where the other 3 are. So we have to get to those worlds and feed the water to those trees in order for this whole interface to work. So that's just one of our goals. Alright, looks like I've hit the 40-minute mark, so I'm going to stop here, and then in the next episode, we're going to continue on. See you guys next time.